The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Dan Resork sitting here with cross-country head coach Mike Spooner. Coach, the weather's getting a little colder. What have you done in practice, and looking forward to these meets to sort of get adjusted?
So a big thing for us is staying healthy as you hit temperature change, especially something kind of like where we're at there in the middle of the U.S. where things get pretty dramatic from hot to cold pretty quick. Big thing for me is just reminding the kids to do the good practices, the things you can control. Staying hydrated, focusing on, vitamin C, eating well, all those types of things to make sure your body is there. Sleep is the biggest thing for our crew is, especially with so many of our kids being such great academic student athletes. I want to make sure that they still understand the importance of getting rest versus pulling all-nighters. And so as the temperatures are, dropping, it's more than ever. It's less about necessarily the training that you've done, but more about the X's and O's, I think, at the college level to make sure that you have the healthiest team possible.
Coach, huge performance this last meet. You had a bunch of students break some records. The men's team had the best finish in the race with more than 10 schools. What did you guys sort of do to prepare for that, and how are you looking to carry that momentum into this next one?
A lot of it was, obviously one, where their training was at. They did a great job there. But the other part, too, is just getting them to understand the importance and the level of the meet. I think that went a long way for them, and making sure that everybody knew what they needed to do to have the successful day. We met the night before in the hotel to go over what everybody's role was, and essentially to know what you need to do to help the team out, not necessarily about you individually, but what it meant for everybody. And I think that's why we were able to see such great successes across the board, is everybody focused on what they needed to do and trusted that their teammates were going to do their parts too. And it went a long way. Is a real good historic day for us, certainly as a program, and something that I expect a lot more of over the next couple of years.
Halfway through the season, Coach, your second season. Tell us about what you've seen so far and how you expect things to keep going into the future.
As kind of we've mentioned over past interviews and stuff, is certainly the team being young. The more they do it, the more they learn. Not just learning necessarily how to take care of themselves as student athletes outside of competition, but also in competition, learning how to race. Obviously, the meet coming up is a really large meet, so that's going to be one of those learning curve opportunities for sure. But so far so good. We're getting better every week, regardless of if we have to have someone out of the race for one reason or another. Everybody's growing and moving in the right direction. We're not getting worse. As I'm kind of looking at the landscape of other teams that will be competing with at regionals. Our stock is just continuing to improve and rise, and that's something that's very exciting to see.
I'm looking forward to Huntsville, a huge race with about 50 other teams competing. Tell us about how you're going to mess with the traffic. Tell us about the course and what you're expecting out of this next one.
So it's a national level course. I mean, Alabama Huntsville has done an incredible job hosting this facility, and I expect it to be a national level meet, but also a literal national meet in the future in the next upcoming years. So for us, it's a great chance to not only learn a course that's going to have a lot of importance over the next few years, but for us also getting the opportunity to race a large-scale meet where some teams go to meets that have 2 or 3 teams. Historically, I've always tried to focus on meets that have no less than 10. 10 and up is because if you want competition, why go to it if it doesn't? And so for a meet like this, where there's going to be no less than 375 kids and up to a max of 500, this is going to be the largest race that a lot of our kids have ever been in, and so just by the pure size. And so big thing that we've been emphasizing on is reminding them that if you're not passing people, you're probably not doing it right. With that many people in the race, no matter where you're at, there should always be someone in front of you passing, or someone to try to pass. And so as long as you're keeping that mind focused, it is a fast course. It's a wide course, so regardless of where you're at, there's going to be plenty of ways to move up and move around, and so that's why we've really been putting a hard mental focus on the notion of constantly be moving forward. Don't get complacent staying behind someone.
Are we looking at grass or gravel or sort of a mix?
So it's actually an old golf course that they've turned into essentially a cross-country facility, and so it's phenomenal. My time running at Tennessee, a lot of courses I ran were this style where it's very large, just there for cross country. So being able to let the kids know kind of that mindset as well, just from my own experiences, hopefully going to go a long way for them. It will definitely be a little overwhelming for sure, but with a young team, we learn these lessons now. We benefit from them in our later years, and so that's the thing that I am excited to see how far ahead are we in the learning process for these kind of races as it sets this tone for years to come.
He's Mike Spooner. I'm Dan Wuzork with the Eagle Sports Network.